Muted.
May have happened at Liberty.
Oh, jeez.
Did you take home? Put in the 340 in there.
The Beamer.
We need to.
The Beamer.
All right.
Beamer has seen some
I
things.
think we are up on all the things here.
Are we up? Yeah, it's seen some things. Morning, everybody.
Good morning. Let me just make sure we're on Instagram. I think we're on. Oh, hey, they are. Okay.
All right. Welcome to the 034 Motorsports live Q&A, round 78.
78. Is Facebook up?
No.
No Facebook? Uh-oh.
Spaceballs.
Let's get face
It's
up.
like it's the hardest thing to get the thing. It's like go live at the scheduled time. Then it just doesn't go live at the scheduled time. So let me get it going now. Here we go.
All right, we're just getting Facebook going. Sorry about that. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Yep. Should be up on everything now.
All right. So this is a Q&A, Ask Us Anything style formats. I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport, and this is Nate Stewart, our Director of Engineering, and certainly all things software and tuning related. Questions about 034 Motorsport products and services, anything about cars, automotive, cooking. I don't know. You know, we like talking about stuff, and we've both been in the industry for a very long time, and kind of seen a little bit of everything. So happy to weigh in on controversial topics, and we take a no BS approach here. We tell it like it is. So, all right. So let's get into it. We got some questions from last week, and we'll pound some of those out, and then we'll get into the new stuff. So someone's asking, flex fuel for DAZA MQB 4-cylinder, B8 3.0T, B9 3.0T, basically flex fuel, all the things. Yes, we're planning on delving into flex fuel.
Yes, and you know, again, this is one of those things. Is a lot of good memes came out this week about needing more time for development, but yeah, we're working on all these things. Certainly on our radar for all of the CMOS, the MQB 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
So yes, all are coming. We're pretty far along right now on the CMOS 18, so all of the MQB stuff. Yeah, we're making good progress on it.
Yeah, no promises on when, and you know, there's other things that are more high priority. We're also doing advanced launch control, and other new
I actually
new
just
features.
saw somebody was asking where the B9 advanced launch control was coming, and the anti-lag stuff. It is coming, as we've said before, and we've kind of shown in some of our other platforms. We like to basically dominate the base with the base tune, get everything as dialed, and figure out really what needs to be optimized and tweaked from the start, and then we can add in the adjustability for that really kind of finessed fine touch. We're not looking to use advanced launch control as like a band-aid to make it the tune faster. We're using it to just give you a little more of a tool to adjust for some really fine traction differences at the track. We're not, advanced launch control shouldn't make the world record pass. It should help you make a consistent world record pass, but you need to have the base tune working.
Yep. B9 3.0T hybrid updates. This is a product we're planning on releasing in Q1.
Yep.
We have a TTE 710 and the Pure Turbos 750 here that we're installing on various vehicles to do this development. So our goal has been to get a really good stage 1 and stage 2 out, which we've done and we're doing.
Yeah, and we had to wrap up some of the B9.5 work. That's all now done. So we're full steam ahead now on stage 2 TCUs coming right down the pipeline. We're getting that finalized right now, and that'll be imminent. And then the hybrid stuff is right on its heels.
Yeah, and then we're also working on B9 RS5 as well. So
yes. Yep.
Lots of people want that.
Yep.
Obviously, really nice platform. I think the RS5 guys have been feeling left out a little bit because S4 is making more power than
a lot
RS5s.
of tools and a lot of a lot of experience on the B9 on the S platform. So the RS stuff is going to be hot and heavy when it comes out.
Yeah, if you own an RS5, you'll be glad once you get our stage one. Or,
Yep.
that car has really nice potential.
Yep.
Is rolling anti-lag necessary on the stock turbo? Will it be available for the stock turbo on the B9 S4? It's not necessary.
Not necessary. It's a for the size motor. It's a pretty small turbo. That thing spools up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's a fun thing. I mean, if you're like Mr. Street Race dialed in, roll racing,
Yeah.
some sort of that's your bread and butter or something. Maybe it'll make some marginal measurable difference, but it's going to be really small. It's kind of one of those fun features that's not super required in this platform.
Yeah. I mean, you can basically, if you're racing someone or there's some acceleration event in the future, like in 5 seconds, then you could sit on the anti-lag and spool the turbo up and then all of a sudden
Yep.
launch,
Yep.
while you're moving. But as far as like normal driving or track driving or driving in a canyon or something, there's no reason you'd ever need that. So, but it kind of makes sense if you're roll racing.
Yeah, if it's some sort of roll race situation,
Yeah.
where you need a very precise release of power.
Yeah.
That's the only time that kind of comes into play.
Yeah. Or if you want to impress all your friends, as you're like rolling by the
significant other, like
the McDonald's.
impression factor is strong.
When is the next open house or event at 034? We do not have one planned currently.
Every time we start thinking about it,
Now we have this new variant that I'm sure will be here in the next month or two. The Omicron variant, whatever fancy high tech name it has.
like a transformer.
I don't know. We were hoping to have a fall fest, and that was derailed by the Delta surge, which has mellowed out. The numbers are pretty good, generally speaking, certainly around here. But I don't know. I honestly don't know, guys. Maybe we'll. I mean, normally we would have something in end of January, and we'll certainly think about that. But right now would kind of be a good time to do it. But I'm sure that new variant's coming here. It's already sweeping Europe. So
Same with all the recent travel.
yeah, I don't know.
Now's a good time for it to spread.
Yeah, we are planning on having an open house at our new service location in San Jose, which is called ZTF Automotive. We're rebranding all of our local service departments activities as ZTF Automotive. ZTF stands for 034. So we'll do something, and that's just mostly for local service customers, and I think we might try to do something. I don't know. I gotta talk to Sonu, but we could probably do something in the next few weeks. But then it's like we're running into Christmas stuff, Christmas parties. I don't know. So,
Getting busy.
any possibility of an ethanol blend on an S3 in the near future?
Honestly, we'll probably just release a flex file versus doing blended files for the MQB stuff, because those are fairly straightforward to implement with where we're at now. So it'll likely just be a flex file. We'll probably do a staged release of the flex stuff where you don't have to do all the MPI, the additional injectors necessarily, but we will give you like flexibility, literally flexibility. On the normal, just stock hardware motor, aside from the sensor.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. If you have our MQB S3 tuning now, then there'll be some upgrade path to do.
Oh yeah.
The stage,
just like all of other stuff. You're not grandfathered in, but you've already got you're on our software platform. We'll give you the upgrade paths.
Yeah. Throughout your years of experience, how can you tell when a motor is being held back by its stock turbo or supercharger, or when it has potential to do more? I mean, this is an easy one. The turbo or supercharger or the power adder device simply cannot continue to increase. It's boost pressure.
Right.
Per given application. So
yeah, and we can see that normally with whatever platform it's on. We'll either sensor up the vehicle as needed or use the data we have at hand to determine kind of where the hardware is becoming the limitation versus something we can manipulate in software. So with these smaller turbos, you can pretty quickly see where they're running out of steam by doing some, just some quick data review.
Yeah.
How hard are we driving the wastegate on this thing? How much power and or boost are we getting as a result of it? Then you got to go back through. Is there some other factor in the motor that might be holding it back? Is it cams? Is it, some other airflow modification we need to make? But it's pretty quick. You can get a pretty quick picture, in a day or two where things are going to start being your limitations.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you have like an electric hoist, and you're picking up different heavy things, and the electric hoist can pick up 100 pounds, but when you try to pick up a 300-pound thing, it just goes, and then nothing happens. It's now that hoist is maxed out. So it's the same thing with stock turbo, where you're like, make 200 horsepower, make 250 horsepower, make 300, make 325. They can't do it, and you'll just slowly see the power output drop as you increase the boost to a point where the wastegate is functioning at 100% duty cycle, so it's closed. All the engine's output is going through the turbo, and so the turbo is literally producing 100% of its flow and pressure capability. And let's say you're at 24 psi, so you're at the max that turbo can do. Now you take that turbo off, and you put a 2,000 horsepower Garrett GT 50R on it. Now that turbo, where the stock turbo could only produce 24 psi, this GT50R, it could probably get to like 70 psi, because it has so much more flow capability. So it's actually pretty common on stock turbos to basically run them at 100%.
Yeah, it depends on the turbo and the motor. Some motors and some turbo setups, they can become a pretty big choke point, and it's called your EMAP, your exhaust manifold pressure. What's inside the exhaust manifold gets to a point where it's much higher than some situations you'll want to be in. So you get valve float or valve sealing issues at that point. But most of these turbos honestly are close to pegged.
Stage one is typically
if it's a small stock turbo.
Even DAZA though,
DAZA at the top.
When people are like, "Oh, does your DAZA tuning make as much power as the other?" It's like,
dude, it's out of
it's 100%.
It's 100% from like
wastegate's closed
on or whatever it is on that. But yeah, we manage.
The turbo's doing as much as it can.
It's a great turbo. We manage the boost.
It is really
what we can get out of it in the mid range just to save the rods. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the top end on pretty much every tune out there is going to be near or is pegged.
But there's no.
So yeah,
you're not going to make more power than our tune on the stock turbo. Right. It's just not going to happen. And then there's been well-known tuners in the past who, just ran basically disconnected the wastegate functionality from the ECU.
Yeah,
it's just 100% all the time.
People have tried all kinds of crazy things. So, yeah.
All right, Prospective Hybrid Turbo B9 3.0T owner here. Do you feel that your B9 3.0T tuning is better than IE or EPL? What makes you guys different for that development, and why should I wait for your hybrid files? Well, we currently basically hold all the acceleration records for stage 1, stage 2.
The stock turbo stuff. Yep.
Stock turbo stuff for the tunings that we offer. And we beat the records by a substantial amount. I mean, I'm sure other tuners will catch up to those times, but we're already running fast, working on running faster times than those. Mm-hmm. So from just a base acceleration quarter mile perspective, we are the fastest. It's undisputed. We have incredibly fast full street setups, full weight. And then we've also done, with weight reduction and some optimization of wheels and tires and things like that, which everyone else does too.
And we've had customers going out and making some very quick.
And then now we have customers running. What was that?
11.1
with any modifications. The back seat.
Stage 2 of the back guy, and then
there was a stock intercooler S4.
Probably.
Yeah, that was like an 11.2 or something.
11.2.
Okay.
To say that again, S4s and S5s doing 11.1, around 120 to 123, depending on your setup. S5 had some weight reduction, S4 did not.
Yep. Yeah. And the S5s are a little porkier from the factory.
But these are customers flashing their car with production files running faster times than IE or EPL. Who like tried to go fast and actually had weight reduction and stuff. So from that one perspective, but we will never sit here and say the only thing that matters is how fast it is. Although we will always try to
Just gonna say,
as far as like smoothness, drivability, safety, the way we've gone about it, continuing to integrate the factory TCU in the torque management of the ECU.
We've done a lot of road course testing on all these. We've, in ridiculous SQ5 on track to really kind of, put it through, as you could say, like worst case as possible, on a road course under sustained heavy loads. And yeah, I mean, we've tried to do as much, due diligence and testing on these files as possible.
And we have a massive sample size now of happy customers. I think it's safe to say 034 has by far the most tunes on B9 3.0 Ts of any tuning company in the world. And the feedback and satisfaction across the board on speed, acceleration, smoothness, reliability, safety, no documented issues with our tunes. We've debugged some stuff, and there's all these different box codes, and
right. And there's been obviously some outliers and things where
the temps have gotten to a certain point, and E85 has gotten a little grumpy when it's 30 degrees. So we're making those adjustments. We've already released one update. We've already released additional new features. We're about to release our Stage 2 TCU. So I think 034 has we've taken on the onus of coming to market with the best product, doing the most testing, supporting it, and showing you guys that we do what we say we're going to do. We just released B9.5. So B9.5 owners are now getting in on the awesome tunes that we offer for these. So, and we're nowhere near done. This is just the beginning as far as what 034 is doing for tuning. I don't know. I think EPL offers a product. IE is going to certainly try to come after what we're doing and compete with us, which we welcome. That's fine. But yeah, no, we're very excited, and we will continue the quality of tuning and the type of success that you've seen with the hybrid turbo files as well. That hybrid tuning is actually very simple. It's the hard part is developing the stage 1.
Yeah, getting to this level on a stage 1 or stage 2 is where the vast majority of the work goes. And if we do it right as much as we can, adapting that to a hybrid turbo is pretty straightforward.
It's more of a tuning calibration effort.
It's a much more
a lot less engineering,
limited scope of work.
Yeah.
Just trying to look for info here. Okay.
And I think if you go to our product pages, we by far provide the most information about our tunes. EPL doesn't even have a website.
We actually have dynos, comparisons.
I think if you Snapchat EPL, they'll send you something, but it disappears after 8 seconds. So you have to keep messaging them back. I don't know how it works, but IE has a good website, and they typically provide good documentation. But I think if you go read our tuning page, you spend time reading through the different features, our philosophy, the way we've gone about it, I would suggest you go back and watch some of the live chats that Nate and I did, where we do deep dives into the B9 tuning. We're here talking about it, answering the questions as they come, putting ourselves out there. We're invested in this. You're not going to find that anywhere else. I would love to see the head of engineering and the owners of other companies, coming in and doing this type of thing, and openly taking questions and answering them. So, we're here, we're committed, and we're not going to stop innovating on the B9 3.0 T platform anytime soon. You're going to start seeing it with the B9 RS5 2.9 T. We're incredibly excited about this platform, and there's a lot more to come. think that years of experience one is right on that one. I'll just touch on this. Someone's asking about gutted cats versus test pipes. You know, test pipes and race cats are only legal for use in racing,
Sanctioned racing.
type environments. So, you know, with that said, in a race car, I would prefer to run a high flow cat than a test pipe.
Oh yeah.
One, there's the benefit of not polluting nearly as much. Our race cats are all Euro 3 minimum standard or Euro 4, which all our new ones are. So this is a very clean running high flow cat. It doesn't meet the emission standards of the latest, like, you know, the current emissions regulations for, like, say, like a B9 3.0T. But on a racetrack, it's going to run very clean. In fact, cleaner than most cars from, you know, the 90s, early 2000s.
Oh yeah. I mean the catalysts are there, you know, as the last measure of control, but you've still got a much more advanced, you know, system and engine
Sure.
and technology ahead of that.
Timing
as well.
control and
that's
fitness.
running things far cleaner than you know, cars of yore.
And then, you know, what we find, especially in these stage 1, stage 2 applications, well, stage 2, again, if you're racing, you're going to see no power difference really between a test pipe and a race cat. A 034 race cat will flow as much as a test pipe, you know, in all the applications that it's sold for. We've seen this with our DAZA. We've seen this with B9, virtually across the board. These are very good flowing high flow cats that are again Euro 4 standard. And then all that catalyzation and burning of the unburnt fuel that's still in the exhaust results in a much less stinky exhaust. So when you're in a race car and you've removed all the interior, the car is very leaky. Those fumes do come right into the car, and having a high flow cat really greatly reduces the noxious particulates and raw fuel that you're breathing. And then what was the final point I was going to make? Oh, and then the soot. You know, unless you want the back of your car covered in carbon. You know,
A good performance race cat shouldn't have really any, you know, performance hit to it. So
yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of reading.
No, there shouldn't be. And you know, the last thing I'll say is not all race cats are created equal. Just because you're buying a high flow race cat, you know, I know that there's some competitor products out there that sell for retail below what our cats cost to make. So, and it's bizarre because I think I've heard customers say like, "Oh, is there a difference? I thought yours just cost twice as much." Like, no, we don't just charge extra money for nothing. Like, this is an actual Euro 4 catalytic converter for racing. So, anyways,
Yep.
and again, race use only, high flow cats. And any modifications to the emission system at all are for racing use only. When will you start developing a tune for the Precision Racewerks MPI Kit for B8S4? Is that which is the one that we're working on?
We don't have one yet, so I mean, we can't do much without one. But I mean,
Is it actually finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
We
we've
would-
also talked about this. The amount of benefit to it is tough.
It's severely diminishing returns
Yeah. So,
compared to E40.
yes.
There's just the benefit of not having to mix fuel.
Yep.
So it is.
Well, no, you still have to. Well, yeah, you could run straight E85 or whatnot. These are still just a single fuel application.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, we need to get one in our hands, and then we can start working on it. So, don't have much more to add there.
What do you mean when we can call something a hybrid turbo? What makes it a hybrid? Oh, what do we mean? Hybrid turbos are is a turbocharger that fits into the stock application. So it has basically a factory OEM style compressor housing and turbine housing, which means that all the inlet and outlet hoses will connect directly to it. That any boost control functionality is built in. All the oil and water lines will mount up, and the the downpipe and exhaust manifold all mount directly out. So this typically means that an OEM turbocharger is then modified with almost always a bigger compressor wheel, but in many cases, a different turbine wheel or modification to the stock turbine wheel to make it flow more. And that's a hybrid turbo. It's kind of a generic, it's a generic, it's hyperbole. There's no discrete specifications, but if you take a stock turbo and you modify it to flow, say another 50 or 100 horsepower, then that's considered to be a hybrid. And the hybrids go back to the 80s when there were Garrett T3 turbos and there were Garrett T4 turbos. T4 turbos were like on trucks, semis. T3s were like on Mustang SVOs and Volvos, stuff like that. And so some clever turbo builders started taking the T4 compressor wheel and compressor housing, and they messed with the back plates, and they were able to mount the T4 compressor wheel on the T3 center section and turbine housing. So that became known as a T3 T4 hybrid turbo. And again, it fit that same format of, you could take your Mustang SVO, pull the T3 off it, slap the T3 T4. You went from making 250 horsepower to 400.
With a fairly bolt up, simple.
And it all basically mounted right up. So hybrids go way back. Hybridization of turbos has continued to be more challenging as these turbos have become more integrated into the vehicles. Like, there's really no other turbo that you can fit on a 4.0T or a 2.0T.
It's completely application specific.
Yeah.
These days.
These turbos are built and designed and engineered to fit in that one spot, in that one application. So hybriding is very important because you could take a 3.0T from like 450 horsepower to 750 just by messing with the aerodynamics inside the turbocharger.
So follow up on the top there.
Yeah, so full frame turbo means it's just you take the turbo off the shelf. So if you get a Garrett GT35R off the shelf and you build an exhaust manifold or you adapt it to fit in there, that's known as a full frame. And
so it's basically as the turbo manufacturer supplied with the exhaust, turbine housings and the compressor housing.
They're standard configuration turbo. So whether it's from Zona, or Precision, Borg Warner, if you go into their catalog and you buy a generic universal turbo, that's known as full frame. Mm-hmm. Now, hybrid turbos can make just as much power or more than full frame turbos.
Yeah, it all depends what you're starting with. It's a really tough one to kind of blanket statement about because all of the OEM housings are different designs, different limitations.
But typically, you start getting into full frame stuff. It means that you can implement some turbos that are much bigger than hybrids. So like once you move on from hybrids and a DAZA, I think you can get up to like 800 horsepower or so. But once you have a full configuration that can accept full frame, you can go up to 2,000 horsepower. There's 2,000 horsepower turbo.
Just keep going bigger, yeah.
That will bolt into that full frame configuration. So,
but I mean, generally when you're talking a full frame setup, it's also you're going to do all of your oil and water lines are going to be different. All of your charge piping is going to be different. All your exhaust routing.
You have to question if it's worth it.
It's going to be different. So there's a big step from one to the other usually.
If you have a DAZA and you want to make 800 horsepower and that's all you ever want to make, I would suggest sticking with hybrid. But there's nothing inherently better about full frame, other than its potential to like go way up into bigger horsepower. I guess someone could make the argument that with the full frame you have a header that flows better and you have a better freer flowing induction system. And it's possible that there's some advantages there, but generally speaking, hybrids bolt in. They're much easier to implement. You pay for it on the manufacturing side of designing and engineering a hybrid is much more work than just pulling a full frame off the shelf. B9 SQ5 handling stuff coming soon. Nick, I'm right here.
You chime this in here?
Like you could just ask us. You don't have to put it through the system. Yes.
I need to ask.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Nick's got it all.
That's not as fun though. And we're all laughing.
I mean, it's right.
No, yeah,
expense.
we have a bevy of B9 SQ5 dynamic MILF products coming, and these are very exciting. Sway bars, end links. We are working on springs for your static moms out there, and we have lowering links coming. What else do we got? Inserts.
All the
various
inserts. Yep.
So, but I would say the sway bars alone are completely transformative.
And then wheel and tire stuff's coming. Or
Wheel saleable.
Wheels are here. We have wheels. 20,
2020.
21 by 10s, which are amazing. You can run 295s, which is, I mean, it looks like a lot of tire, even on an SQ5, which is not small. When you're behind it, you're just like, God damn. So, yeah.
It's a Milfmobile. I mean,
It's total Milfmobile, and I mean, if you want to take on all those Range Rovers in your local city, you will be able to put the hurt on some Range Rovers and Acura MDXs and whatever else you come along.
X3s or X5s.
Yeah, with crackles. Can you imagine your mom pulling up to high school like, "Honey, I'm here." You're just like high-fiving all your friends as you go get in your
Dropped my daughter off in the
Yeah.
RS5 this morning.
Oh yeah, I bet you liked it. I this summer I dropped my son off at summer school in the R8 a couple times, and he was like, after school he was like, "I was the man today." Everyone's like, "Was that your dad? Who's that?" Any updates on B9 3.0T fan issues?
I gotta check in, but yeah, I think we're knocking these out as they come up. I gotta see. I think we might have one or two box codes left that might still have some weirdness on. I'll follow up on that. I don't know exactly where that's at right now.
We're working on it. It's just on a few select box codes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a widespread issue. Obviously, for whoever is affected by
And
it.
it's just it's not. I mean, it's an issue, but it's just like your fans run at a little higher speed than we normally not them for.
Where are you guys at with the RS3 surge tank? I watched a video a while ago where you guys were close, but I couldn't find it on your website.
Yep.
It's done being engineered, and we are simply manufacturing all the components. This is a extensive kit with, I don't know, it probably has 100 different pieces in the kit that we're currently sourcing or manufacturing. Whatever.
And it's multiple manufacturing methods to get the hard parts done. And it's both collaboration with some other manufacturers to get some integrated electronic stuff done.
Yeah.
So
But this will be the most complete bolt-in kit on the market. We're working on some exciting voltage ramping type tech that would make this pretty much you wouldn't have to worry about the E5LM pump anymore.
Yeah.
You could tune just about any DAZA big turbo setup with our surge tank. So it's a very great and exciting kit. I think I was probably a little delusional thinking that we could have released it like in 2020. It turns out we didn't even release it in 2020. But so this kit's we're going on 2 years in the making.
we kind of rebooted the project a couple of times, trying to work with some other vendors and make it work with their stuff, and then we pulled the plug on that. So it set us back a
They
little
were
bit.
insane. What is the peak boost on B9 S4 Stage 2 93?
I was just gonna look that up.
It's all the boost.
It's. I mean, this is one of the other things too. Is like we're not trying to hit a number. We're trying to hit what works for that octane. I'll have to look back and see.
I mean,
off the top of my head, I want to say it's like
20s.
2,700 millibar. So yeah, mid 20 psi.
Yeah, about 25 psi, give or take.
And
But
it's again just in the mid range, and then it's going to taper towards red line, just 'cause, as we talked about at the beginning of this segment. The turbo's just running out of steam.
just keep in mind that the ECU does not target a boost pressure.
Yeah, you
Not
gotta
there's
think
no
of
max
it,
boost pressure.
Yeah, but it's just a tool in its bag to make the amount of torque that you're trying to make.
So it's programmed to make a certain amount of torque and take into all the environmental conditions that the car is facing to produce a torque number. And that could mean 25 psi, could mean 26, could mean 23.
Yep, and it'll change depending on the weather, the environmental conditions.
If anyone makes it sound like their tune runs a certain peak boost pressure all the time, you should run away. That's not how these ECUs work.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be hard caps in there, but
Yeah.
you know, sitting on one pressure is usually not how these work.
And he plans on releasing an oil catch can for the 8VRS3. We'll install on the passenger side of the engine bay. Not too fond of my forge hose routing over the 034 intake tube. Yes, this is also a product that's done being engineered. It's in manufacturing. It does mount on the opposite side of the engine bay as the DSG catch can. It's visually a similar shape. It's bigger because it's dealing with engine oil, but it bolts in. It's designed to work with our intake. It should work really nicely with other intakes as well. I've seen the competitor products on the market. They're not very nice. Ours is designed to surpass anything else that's on the market. So we'll actually show you pictures of ours that aren't dark and blurry, so you can see like all the aspects, and we'll even do a cutaway of the inside of what's going on, so there's no secrets there. It's thoroughly tested product in your in-house vehicles. Mark A GTI and Golf R tuning in the works.
It's in the works.
It is in the works. These cars are very new here still. We should have an S3 maybe at some point. It's really hard getting cars right now.
Apparently, it's really hard getting cars these days. So.
But
Yeah, we have one. We have our name on one. We're just working through the paperwork to get it up.
so that will help. And then we've also been working with Racing Line in the UK as they have several cars as well. So we're getting somewhat of a head start.
Yep.
But it's definitely coming. I would definitely expect something next year as far as stage one goes. Yeah. DQ381 TCU file official release.
Yeah, it's on our list. I don't have an ETA on that. The files are on the server. I mean, the beta files are on the server. They're very, very near what our official release will be. It's down to a couple of tweaks here and there. We're wrapping it into the DQ500 stuff. We just had some prioritization stuff that came up ahead of it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the files are there. You can flash them. They're good, solid files. So.
Someone's asking, where will the surge tank mount in the bay? Is this referring to DAZA?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a little spot in front of the motor mount in the corner there and behind the headlight. And
it's very similar to the DSG catch can, just mirrored to the other side.
Yeah, so flip it to the other side, similar shape. It's just about 3-4 times bigger.
Yeah.
Fits very nicely there. It's all billet aluminum. It's freaking gorgeous. I'm excited to release that product. As far as E85 goes, do you recommend an ethanol content sensor? Also safe to assume you need a gauge to capture that info. I mean, this comes up all the time in the customer group. I think if you're doing anything with E85, anything with blends, you should have an E85 contents gauge in the car installed. We offer one for the DAZA
stuff. Yeah.
It's an Innovate kit. It's everything you need, plug and play, bolt in. For any of the other applications, I'd recommend the Fuel-It.
Fuel-It's pretty much
really
the easiest
popular.
one to put in, and you don't have to run cables to the passenger compartment. It's an app on your phone to look at it.
And then the P3 gauge. If you like having P3 stuff, their setup's nicely integrated, where you mount the sensor, and then there's a sender that goes to the gauge, so you can read it out there.
Yeah, we always recommend, especially on these blended or non-flex fuel cars, you get a gauge.
Innovate has good kits. AEM has them. The kits are fine.
And the sensors are all OEM sensors, so there's no real difference in the sensors as long as it works with whatever you're using to measure it, to monitor it.
But I always hear people say like, oh, when you put E85 in, make sure to drive it for 30 minutes and blah, blah, blah.
I know, it's so hard to do.
And it's like, okay, don't do that. Just get a gauge. And then once the content is where you want it, you can drive however you want. And I think on any of our E85 tuning, you want to be at least E60.
At least, yeah. That's generally a pretty normal.
And usually what we see around here is straight E85 ends up around E80.
And around us, we typically live around E80 here.
But it varies.
Varies a lot around the country.
And then if you're blending, it's very important to be, close. If you're supposed to hit E40, you want to be around that.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
Maybe plus or minus.
your blend rates are going to be different depending on what the content is at that pump. So,
But there's literally no reason to guess.
no,
Just get
the
a
gauges
gauge.
aren't that expensive.
No.
And it's a one-time purchase, and then you'll know for the rest of the life of the car.
And there's other gauges where you can pour some E85 into a,
Oh, you can do manual measurement stuff. Yeah.
and that's fine to a degree, but what that really doesn't help. Like what you're concerned about is the E85's in your tank. Now it has to go into your fuel lines. It has to go into your fuel rail, and all the parts of your fuel system, including the injectors, need to be filled with whatever
Yep.
blend or mix
Yeah.
it needs to.
All these cars since like the mid 2000s are what's called a dead end fuel system. So this fuel,
It takes a while.
the older style fuel systems, your fuel would circulate constantly through the motor, return to the tank. You had a regulator at the end of the fuel rail or whatever, and you're just dumping the fuel back into the tank. So that actually purged through pretty quick if you changed fuels. These days, you've got to empty, and it's just a first in, first out, fuel to the motor. You've got to empty that entire line, all your filters,
Could take a while.
pump filters, rails, all that's got to get emptied, and it's actually a surprising amount of driving. You don't really think about it in this like volume of fuel to how much you drive kind of thing, but it's
Considering how
10,
cheap-
20 miles.
How cheap these gauges are, there's really no reason
Yeah.
for anyone to guess. So I would suggest not guessing and just get a gauge.
Yep.
Plus, guessing can be really problematic. Blow up your motor if you don't get it right. Ordered a tune this weekend. When will I get it?
As soon as we can get it to you.
Yeah, typically we're about 1 to 2 days processing tuning orders. That's business days. If you ordered it last Thursday, we've been closed. Gave our employees Thursday and Friday off. We're always closed on weekends.
It's the chagrin of some people online, apparently.
Yeah.
But I mean, and if you needed a cable, like if you don't already have cable, it depends on how quickly you had it shipped to you. But those are in stock and shipping. So
Cables, should ship in 1 to 2 days and get to you. So thank you for your patience, but it is on sale
Yeah,
too.
sure.
So hopefully that buys a little patience as well. AL551 vague update, TCU vague update.
same thing. We're working on it a bunch this week still. So hopefully I'll have more at the end of this week. So we've got test files getting flashed. Right in the middle of it.
I want to tune my car. Are there any sales coming soon? Good question. We just started one for you, and it's live right now. You can go to our website and save 10 to 20% off on all of our tuning. You're welcome. We really aim to please here at Zero Diplomas.
Just for you.
Are you guys making a big brake kit for B8s? If so, what size? The one on the S4.T. I feel like we already did this last week.
I think we answered this one already. Yeah.
No, that's like
it's
asking.
It got asked again.
Yeah. But I mean, so the brake kit that's on is S4.0T is a bit of a hybrid kit from a couple of different.
And that's
Components.
385 rotors?
390.
390.
Yeah, so I think that's our R8.
That's the R8 stage
kit
2.
with the 8-piston racing line kit from their upcoming Mark 8 with a custom bracket. So it's that one's kind of a hybrid of parts and specials, but
we will be doing a brake kit. I think we're going to try to stick to the 390 if we can. We're currently working with the piston sizes in the caliper to optimize that.
it's a little hefty right now.
Yeah.
Pedal travel wise and feel wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But yeah, those cars need all the brakes they can get.
no ETA. If you're really in a hurry for something, you probably want to just jump on whatever you can get.
Yep.
But I'd like to say that in the next 6 months we'll release something. No, we wouldn't. SuperDuper for the C7 3.0T and B8 Q5 3.0T.
Super duper. I mean, all of the tuning is there.
Well, B8 we already have.
Well,
It's
just-
not the
not SQ5.
not SQ5. It's not listed as a kit because the intake tubes are different.
Correct.
So
Wait, B8 SQ5 we just released.
We have an intake for it, but not the super duper.
not the super.
Oh, SuperDuper. Sorry. Yeah.
So no, there's some hoses we need
Yes,
to
yes.
wrapped up in there. I mean,
Yeah, no, okay. SuperDuper. Sorry, I was thinking intakes.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean it's something we're working on.
Yeah,
I
we'll,
guess-
we'll have the intermediate pieces soon.
Yeah, we'll have to follow up with engineering and see where that's at. By the way, I wanted to mention if you haven't seen, we're doing our typical meme blast
It's hard to miss.
Black Friday sale, Dank memes. So we've been having a lot of fun with it. The marketing team here, we create these and share them, and then we also have fun with the banter that comes along. And some of them are pretty spicy, not HR spicy, but just other types of spicy. And
Do we get any angry letters this year yet?
not yet.
Usually we get like at least one or two like really grumpy letters for people
no.
that take these like way too
Oh
personal.
no, we need to up the ante. Then that's not good. That's one of the metrics.
They think it's like
we want at least 3 angry.
our real opinion on the world, and
Well, I mean,
you're literally.
I don't think anyone's tried to cancel us yet,
Okay.
so we'll turn them up a little.
Despite you asking last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we don't want to get canceled. It's really bad. You can make a lot more money when you get canceled. Your sales skyrocket the second you're canceled. So definitely don't cancel them. So yeah, and then I know we had a customer meme contest as well, which was great.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, we'll
We picked,
Culminated.
we'll choose the winner today, but I don't know. And Nate and I were getting a kick out of a lot of the live chat memes that were being generated.
I was not expecting quite so many of my face to be cropped out of so many
Yes.
videos. And
You guys-
memed up.
You guys definitely don't miss a thing. So very cool. Thank you for
Happy to provide something. I don't know what it is now.
Yes.
That top question is probably a good one.
And then to dovetail off the meme the meme theme.
Wagon.
Our sale is going for the rest of the week, so
Ends well.
it ends next Monday,
It's our cyber meme sale.
and anywhere from 8 to 20% off, and we even have select clearance items up to 50% off.
Yep.
We have swag, which is
30.
30% off, and a number of tunes that are 20% off. B8, B9 are 10% off, which is a great. Our B8 tune's already like the best price tune out there.
Especially the features included.
Yeah.
It's all the octanes. It's all of the features we provide.
Yeah. So definitely check it out.
Yep.
And I know I've seen a number of other manufacturers announcing price increases. So that's definitely coming for us. We have seen massive increases in freight and logistics costs.
On the B8 in particular, just sort of a side note, I don't know. We can probably say, we have carb EOs coming or done and
Yes,
certified for all
we
the
do.
B8 stuff. So anybody that buys any of our B8 software will have a carb certified stage 1 file
Yeah.
across the board.
Yep. So.
Exciting.
But yeah, we do have some price increases coming in the future. So if you're thinking about taking advantage of the sale, I'd recommend doing it, because even though we only did 8% off this year, that's going to be. We could have raised prices a month ago.
Right. There's the other retail marketing model of kick your prices up
Yeah.
and discount them.
And I've seen companies in our industry doing that already, but we've chose to put that off till next year. But the prices are good right now. We're just getting hammered by material cost increases. A lot of the products, the material costs have more than doubled or tripled, which obviously only affects a certain amount of the total cost into that product. The labor's gone up, and then freight and logistics. In some cases, we're paying 10 times more to ship products in, and that's just not
waiting
sustainable.
10 times as long
Well,
to get that.
the wait is a whole nother tragedy, but yeah, we're paying 10 times more to take 3 times as long to get products. So, and then as we always say, like if you want to get one of our products and you want to actually get it, then if it's out of stock, it's still best to purchase it and get in the back order line, because I don't know how no one can predict what the next 6 to 12 months will look like, but this probably isn't going to get any better anytime soon.
Hurry.
And the sooner you place an order, the further up you're in line. And, we are shipping product. Everything we sell is shipping. It's just not always shipping as fast as we'd like. So the sooner you order, the sooner it'll ship. You still might end up waiting 2-3 weeks, a month, but at least you'll get it sooner than if you just wait till the inevitable. That never happens.
It's a tough question.
Yeah. Why can't I fit my TTE 710 with the stage 2 files, SQ5 B9, whilst waiting for stage 3?
The calibrations on these vehicles, and particularly on a lot of these more modern vehicles that are map sensor based, they don't have a MAF, are very dependent on correct VE modeling for one. So you're not, let me explain a bit what VE is. So volumetric efficiency. It's how efficiently a motor and the motor's system can pump air through that motor and, turn that into power. And to do that, you need the right amount of fuel, the right amount of air coming in. So all that is modeled and calculated and computed, as the motor's running thousands of times a second. It's all calculated. When you change a massive, airflow manipulating device like a turbo and put something like a hybrid on it, all those models are now off by some pretty large amount usually. So then you have to rely on things like the oxygen sensors and the NOx sensors and these other systems to try and hopefully catch it, enough so that it doesn't hurt anything. Best case, or worst case, best case is it's going to run maybe okay. It'll probably be weird and impossible to troubleshoot because you don't know if you're troubleshooting something in the tune, the turbo, the ways, you're in some unknown configuration now that really shouldn't be put together that way. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons not to mix and match files unless you just want to be on your own.
And to be fair, isn't another tuner out there doing this?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to that. I don't think so.
Like, they have a stage 2 file that people are running hybrid turbos with?
Customers are doing it.
Customers might be doing it, but I don't know of anybody that's saying they can do it or
No.
advertising.
No tuner is advertising doing.
Okay.
They have their own file, but
Okay,
no,
yeah.
there are some.
No, it strongly
Yeah.
advise just wait. They're fairly simple turbos to swap on these, thankfully.
I mean, what I would suggest is run our stage 2 E85 file
And
and just rip your face off 18 times a day.
Yeah, there's going to be no price difference as
You
opposed
know.
to waiting. So,
No.
we'll have an upgrade straight from our 2 to 3 or the hybrid file.
I mean, can we find out, is this customer currently running our stage 2 file?
Yes.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wants
Okay.
to put them.
just hang on.
I mean,
It won't be too long now.
the hybrid will produce more horsepower, but I think there's a lot of people out there who've never. You guys are spoiled with really, really fast stage 1 and stage 2 files,
Yeah.
and there's this idea that hybrid turbos will feel a lot faster. And while it's true that hybrid turbo will produce more horsepower and it will ultimately be a faster car, as far as squirting around day in and day out in launching out of your driveway or squirting through traffic, going 30 to 50 miles an hour and stuff like that, the stock turbo is going to be really tough to beat.
Yeah.
And the car may not feel a lot faster with 700 horsepower than it does with 450 in the stock turbo.
Particularly with the boost control is going to be off quite a bit, I'm sure, on the 710 versus the stock turbo. So there's going to be a lot of things that are kind of combating each other and not optimally calibrated for that setup. So
No,
chances are good it's going to be
I'm talking about-
slower or marginally.
But not when we release a file.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I'm saying that for the stage.
I'm saying a fully optimized stage 3 is not going to be as responsive
just
and
mechanically
and torquey as the stage 2 E85 file that you're running right now. So, there's definitely, don't get me wrong, there's definitely more power and acceleration there, and the car will ultimately be faster.
Yep.
But if you're talking about usable fast power, stage 2 is going to be, or stage 1, which is almost as much power, is going to be really tough to beat. So, set your expectations for, you're talking about stage 3 acceleration is you get on the power and you're accelerating through the gears and you're stretching the car's legs out. But if you want to, squirt on the throttle at 3,000 RPM or 3,500 RPM, the stock turbo by far is going to be the winner there. And that's, I think, the kind of drive, 90+% of the driving that most people do is that kind of lower mid-range
These
acceleration.
cars these days are fast. Like to
Yeah.
stretch out like a second, third, fourth gear pole where you're really going to use that hybrid turbo, you're moving.
You're talking about stage 1 cars are running mid-11s. I mean, with with almost no mods. That was unheard of. 5-10 years ago, there was no such thing. So,
Yep.
so yeah, I would just say, be patient, enjoy the power you have. Squirt around town.
We got more coming, but
Yeah, but it's already a really quick.
I wouldn't jump the gun and get the turbo on there before you got a calibration
Yeah.
for it.
Well, no, you just can't do that. That's just a really.
We're never gonna suggest that.
Yeah.
Follow-up question right beneath where that was, right on the top.
Would it be possible to run a hybrid turbo with the stock catalytic converter? Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. We will support that.
We're going to have files for that. So we want to have both the stock catalyst version and the race.
And
race
I mean,
setup.
it's ultimately our goal to get that EO'd.
Yep.
And really moving forward, guys, like it's going to be a big priority for us to release more emissions legal turbo kits and tuning products for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah, it makes everything so much simpler.
There's this kind of like rebel mentality out there where it's like, screw the EPA, screw CARB, blah blah blah. Okay, well they're not going away. That's not changing. Americans want clean air. Americans don't want cars that pollute. And this is a broad public opinion and support of clean air and clean water and a clean environment. So these regulations aren't going anywhere. And as a tuning company, we're choosing to embrace them. And we are working with CARB and ultimately with the EPA through CARB to get our tunes and our products CARB approved.
Yep.
and have executive orders for them so that you guys can mod your car and with a clean conscience and clean, not worried about getting busted or getting in trouble or having a referee.
We've talked to this a number of times, but we do everything we can, and we deliberately keep all of the controls, all of the systems in place, functioning, all the emissions control. Everything's there, doing what it's supposed to be doing, the way it's supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's going to be the way of the future. The good news is the B9 3.0T stock cat flows quite well.
Yep.
There will be, some compromise of power output, but it'll still be really fast. And, again, without any of the baggage of not being smog legal.
Yeah.
So
all of our B8 stuff, we have both, regardless of level. We offer, obviously the stock catalyst versions. It's what we believe in, the right way to do it. B9 will be the same way.
And there is a racing provision in the Clean Air Act, and we will continue.
If you're running sanctioned racing,
Yeah, and we will continue to support the racing customers as well. So, for the time being, we're doing both. But I think what we're able to do with our engineering expertise and resources is we're able to. It's anyone can rip a cat out and bang out a test pipe file. That's pretty easy to do compared to engineering a tune that can pass CARB
full
tests, which are the same tests, by the way, that the OEMs have to take. So we're testing at that level, and that's the quality of engineering that we're doing. So that's something to keep in mind when you're making your choice. This is not the easy route, but this is definitely the best route. All right, we're almost out of time.
that last one, that'll be a quick and easy one.
I just tuned my B8 3.0T to stage 2. Is there a way to turn off the radiator fans from operating at 100% speed on startup and idle?
Yep, you need to watch our video about our advanced launch control. So what that is a feature we added so that when you're setting up for launch control, those radiator fans will kick on and run 100% anytime your cruise control is on. And that's just because we're limited on user inputs that we have to the ECU. So that's what we chose to hook into to let you turn them off the advanced launch features.
Yep.
So yeah, anytime you come to a stop, if you have our files and your cruise control is on, your fans will spin up and your radiator or your intercooler pump is going to run. Just to keep all of your intake stuff as cool as possible.
Yeah. But we have a video describing that. Features Nick Mercadante's beautiful face, so you can go watch that.
All over it.
One last question. I just for stage 3 on the S4 B9, what additional parts would I need other than the hybrid turbo? I think it's gonna be safe to say you want an intercooler and an intake.
Yep.
Those two things. Again, we will offer stage, as you know, a stage 1, stage 1, stage 3. I don't think we need to get into that kind of stuff, but you can. Someone's asked about the map sensor. Those aren't that expensive, but if you want to save money on the intake right
map
now.
sensors and things, that'll be part of the required hardware when we get there. So yeah, there'll be some hardware requirements that come along for any of the hybrid level
But
things.
you can jump on an intake and an intercooler right now. You should do that, and frankly, that's a benefit for stage 1
Stage 1
as well. I mean, that becomes our stage 1 plus, which is knocking on the door of stage 2 numbers with all the factory emissions in place. So. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for another week.
I went by fast.
Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving and enjoy the Christmas music out there.
Yeah,
that you're starting to
Come on,
hear.
Harrison. All right, guys.
All right, later.